Okay, back in the booth, we're recording. And with that, I welcome you back to the Counter-Strike Casuals podcast, a casual podcast about Counter-Strike for casuals by casuals. We don't really have an intro like that. We should probably rehearse that and have like a opening gambit. But anyway, hello mate, how are you?
Pretty good, mate. How are you? Oh, you've got your mug.
Yeah, mate, I've got the merch on.
Mate, I've just got mine. I went to get a beer out of the fridge, opened it, 0 beers there, so I had a brew instead.
It's like we planned it, but we didn't actually plan it. Anyway, okay, I think we're going to cut to the chase, right? Let's get into it because I feel like we've actually got quite a lot to talk about.
Let's go.
And I guess we will start with the Counter-Strike 2 update that happened, which I think was maybe last week, but after the podcast we put out last week anyway, so we could talk about it, which basically we can only talk about as viewers and as true casuals because we still don't have access, which is that they added Overpass to all game modes by looks of it, and they added Vertigo, and they took out Nuke. So they also added Wingman, which, hey, at one stage you and me had a bit of a Wingman sesh. No, it wasn't long lived, but we did have a few goes at it, didn't we? We might have even tried to get a rank or got a rank on it. I can't remember, but maybe we should pick that back up when we keep playing these.
Yeah, I remember at one stage I was slapping kids on Wingman. I was doing really well compared to normal CS.
When you just have to rely on yourself, and 50% of the team is you. You don't have to rely on random shit houses on.
I think maybe the standard was really low.
Maybe we should play some Wingmen after this. Anyway, we'll take that offline. What do we know about the update? Overpass, everyone is going mental for. Everyone's creaming over how good Overpass looks. I must admit, I haven't really looked too much into it. I'm a bit like a stubborn child because I haven't got access. I'm just like, when I get access, I'll have a proper look and suss it all out. I saw some screenshots and some short videos on Twitter of Overpass, and it definitely looks like an improvement. Have you got any thoughts on what's happening?
Yeah, I think it looks really good, but I think Valve have cracked it. They know what to do with games now. They don't update a game for a very, very long time, and then when you do, everyone creams the pants and says, "Wow, this is amazing."
Yeah. The thing that I have, the issue that I've got with, which actually fits in what you're saying, is because this rollout, should we call it, of CS2 is now becoming quite protracted, and I think we all kind of thought it might be here by now, or at least into the first or second week of August when it was initially said summer. The hype hasn't died down for me, but it's like almost like, well, they've got so much time to sort this, they're doing so much work to it, or they're taking their sweet time with it, that actually I expect nothing less than what they've done to Overpass on everything then. So in my mind, everything should be looking as good as this Overpass, which I haven't even paid much attention to. Apparently Vertigo doesn't look that good, which I think, so my expectations...
I don't think it's that. I just think it's that because they've released them both at the same time, Overpass is a completely reworked map, so they've completely rebuilt the whole thing.
Yep.
Yes, it's very, very similar. There's just a few differences, whereas the other maps are just like they've released them exactly the same as they were. They've just redone the textures and made it look nicer, which, to be fair, I think they all do look nice. You know, I keep seeing screenshots of every time they release a new map, look at this, wow, it looks amazing. And they do look good. I would say Overpass is the best looking map up to now.
But my point is, if they're taking this long and doing like drip feeding it to the community, everything should be reworked and everything should be the standard of Overpass. As the time goes like that up, my expectations continue to go up. Whereas before it was like, oh, it's going to be a slight upgrade on CSGO, whatever, let's just ship it out and then they'll do some updates, go. But this is just like fucking dragging. So now I'm like, well, they must be doing this, they must be doing that. And it's like, yeah, so I only have myself to blame when I'm going to be disappointed that it is just a slight update to CSGO. But I feel like we're getting closer to the release with the added maps coming in. the fact they've added wingman as a mode as well, they're obviously trying to test as much as possible. So that can only be positive. The other thing I heard, which was on HLTV Confirmed, where Sponge was talking about his 3080 struggling. I think that's going to be interesting. He does play everything on high settings, which, you know, we're not Counter-Strike players to play on high. We love things on low, don't we? I thought that was we like new stuff, so we could turn it all down to very low or turn it off.
Yeah, that's what's going to happen, isn't it?
Yeah.
Everyone's going to be sweating and turning everything down to low after they've done all this hard work. But
to get 300 FPS instead of 200 FPS.
Yeah, I was saying, like, they're doing all this work. Does it really matter? Because we're playing CS for the gameplay. It is nice to have cool maps and, you know, the water stream on Overpass, and that's pretty cool.
Yeah, I'm a bit maybe my casual anxiety slips in there where people start talking about, oh my god, you can use the water trail to work out where someone's gone. I'm not, half the time I'm not looking down, am I? I'm just like tunnel
it's
vision.
like the magazines though. When someone reloads, you're not like, oh, there's someone been here. I've seen a magazine on the floor.
Yeah. So
like, it doesn't happen. So I don't think it's going to change that much. But
that's for the guys with like 5,000 hours, not not us.
Yeah, I mean, it's for the very, very unique occasion where you walk a corner just after someone else and you see it. But yeah.
There you go. Well, that's CS2 update in a nutshell. I'm still working on Mrs. Diz being away for whenever it drops, but without having a date, it's also making it hard, which is why my frustrations are projecting at Valve for this.
How much notice are they going to give us, do you think?
I think it would be like a what was it called with the shadow drop? Yeah, we don't give any notice. You just go, there it is.
You think that's what they'll do?
I don't know. How did CS:GO release? I can't remember. I can't remember what happened with that.
I think it's going to be 1 month today anyway, according to Overpass.
No, this is the rumor.
Yeah,
conspiracy theory, which is
the clocks on Overpass are set to 24 minutes past 8.
So the 24th of August is where there's the theory is, or the rumor.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure it's 20. I may be wrong, but it's around then. Yeah.
I think I'm free that weekend.
That is 2 days before I go to Spain, so it wouldn't be the greatest time to release it for me. But
to be doing some queues without you if it drops that weekend.
Yeah.
Anyway, but there you go. All right. Well, CS2 is doing things. People that are playing CS2 are enjoying stuff, but
yeah, every update though, it does feel like a step closer.
The sound apparently is still a bit warped, which is a bit worrying as well.
Yeah, people are saying it's muffled.
Yeah, well, like you're underwater or something.
Yeah, but I'm sure that's an easy fix. I mean, I think movement for me is going to be more important.
Don't know. I think sound's really important on CS, but they haven't fixed it yet, so let's see. Well, moving on from CS2 to the here and now and the current. Blast Full Groups has concluded. They finished yesterday. We're recording this on Monday, so we will not regurgitate every result and our opinions on every game because we're not that good at it anyway. Let's be honest with ourselves, really, right? Let's tell the people how it is. But what we should do is let's simplify who's qualified to go to the actual LAN in Copenhagen in November. Then we can talk about who didn't qualify. Blast Full Groups is effectively a qualifier. Of course, they don't call it that because organisers of Counter-Strike tournaments hate calling things just a qualifier. So the teams that qualified: FaZe, Heroic, NiP, Astralis, Navi and Vitality. In terms of any surprises in there, there's a cut. Well, I didn't expect NiP and Astralis to qualify, but let's start at the top. Right, FaZe, their route to qualify, they beat OG. No shock, OG looks shocking. They lost to the new look Liquid, which I think if you listen back to the podcast, I said FaZe were going to lose to that Liquid team. And I'd never get a call right. But as you rightfully pointed out when we spoke during the week, I didn't put money on it. So I didn't put my money where the mouth was. But they did lose to Liquid. They then beat G2, and then they beat Liquid again to qualify. And in the game against Liquid, Carrigan had a rating of 1.4.
Whoa, go on, Kaz.
And that actually made me go back in time and look at the last time he had a rating over 1.4, which was in March. It was actually sooner than I thought. It was in March this year. I thought I'd have to go to like last year or back end of last year. But
every now and again he pulls one out.
Yeah, he does.
I think like maybe him and Rob switch computers or something.
Yeah, probably him with Twist or so. Yeah. Well, the last time he did it was against Nip, and he got a 1.44, and that was in a ESL Pro League match. And then he did it like the day before against Rooster, who are an Australian team, and he got 1.43. So he was feeling it over those 2 days. But yeah, so FaZe, I'm not shocked that they qualified. One of the few teams that didn't make changes to their lineup other than losing Robin, which wasn't their plan. And do you know what? FaZe, just as a general summary, looked and felt like the same old FaZe to me, really. Looked fine. So happy days. Tick for the FaZe boys. Let's go. Heroic next. They beat Big. They then beat Navi twice. And new look Navi, obviously, I think had everyone a bit like unsure, a bit worried probably when they faced them in this little run. So, mate, your team, Heroic, because it definitely is your team. You always champion Heroic, no matter what you say.
I mean, let me have a little look. They
look
like everyone.
They look consistent as ever.
I would say, yeah, no matter who they faced, I am going to favour them slightly. I do have other teams that I like, but I'm very like this though. You know that I'm into the NBA. I don't really have a team. I have teams that I like. I like Heroic because I like the guys on the team. I feel like they all seem like pretty sound guys.
Well, they looked like their typical consistent selves. Like just
still smashing it.
No problems, no drama really.
Well, they played Navi, and I guess I'll go on to Navi soon. But yeah, I'll talk about Navi when we further down the line.
Yeah. So then Nip, they were third to qualify. I actually don't know if I've got this in order of who qualified first. I did try to do that, but it's been a busy week. So then we're on to Nip. They lost to the new look Complexity with the Liege leading the charge. And actually, when that result came in, I was like, oh my god, Nip gonna struggle. Complexity are gonna be looking good. Typical overreaction of a fan or like the kind of non-professional watcher. But then Nip beat EG, and then they beat Complexity again on the kind of return battle, and then they beat Vitality.
Nip have done well. Nip kind of surprised me a little bit. I think everyone was going on about the Hamster's comment about it's nice to not have the biggest balls on the team now. Configs there,
yeah,
but they all played pretty well for Blast anyway. Like a few rounds I caught, Rez was taking heads, Brolin was, Headtrick was playing pretty well. I think they all kind of played pretty well. They're all, not the greatest players, but they all performed average, and that balances out teams like G2 when you've got players up here, but also players right down at the bottom. Yeah, Nip did well. I was pretty impressed by them. They were a little bit of a surprise.
Yeah, I think so as well.
Did you? Yeah, you mentioned that, didn't you?
Yeah, I think they surprised me at them actually qualifying, to be fair, especially with going back to Hampus, losing Alexi B and all that. And whenever you make a change of it, IGL, I assume it's going to have a bit of a settling in period. But to be fair, they qualified. They
beat Vitality.
Yeah, they beat Vitality to qualify. It was a close match. They won 2-0, but I don't think they...
It was 16-13 and 16-14
so
on each map.
Vitality pushed them on each map, but fucking Nip were there. And that was the one that Brolin stepped up in, I think, as well. And
Brolin did really well.
Showed some glimpses of a former self there. But so fair play to Nip. So FaZe Heroic Nip through. Astralis also qualified. They lost to Navi.
If you do it in order, it was Navi. Oh, yeah, sorry. You're right. FaZe, Heroic, and Ninjas were in the top first to third.
Yeah, they were the ones who went first.
Yeah, fourth, fifth, and sixth were the next three. Yeah.
Yeah, I did try to get I've tried to be really organised this week, mate, with my notes, as you know. Astralis, they lost to Navi, then they lost to Big, and then they beat Complexity and they beat Liquid. I just feel like they're just so random. Like, losing to Navi, I don't know, with Navi at the moment, it's such a weird new team of like mental heads. Like, I can't call what they're like or what they're doing. Losing to Big don't look good other than Mantu, because Mantu's a good player. They then beat Complexity. Complexity actually look a bit better than before, but not really game changing compared to Complexity. They're still Complexity. And then they beat Liquid, who I actually thought Liquid were going to turn up and do a bit more than they did in these qualifiers. So I don't know with Astralis, like they yeah.
Have they got better?
I still think, I don't know if they've made the right moves, Astralis. Like, I just, in my opinion, I still think you need to get rid of Buzz. Like, I think you could have got rid of Buzz and kept Altex, and then that team looks good now. Altex looked alright for an academy geezer, a young guy. Like, why wouldn't you have put that faith into him? I know Buzz is still young, but Buzz is just so uninspiring, it feels to me.
They've been very up and down. Buzz, Borup, and Stare are really up and down. Blame F and Device.
Well, they're the two best players, aren't they?
Yeah, they're still great, but the other three are really finding their feet at the minute. So I think it's too hard to say. I mean, I know I'm kind of saying, are they better or not? Are they better? I would say no, they're not better. They're the same.
Okay. So let's see, and then on to Navi. You know, which is just right. They beat Astralis, then they lost to Heroic, then they beat Big, then they lost to Heroic again, which is Heroic being Heroic. Then they beat G2, and then they qualified. Simple was raging in the Heroic game and looking like a bit of a bitch. However, in the later games where they started winning and kind of, or in the games they're winning, he's definitely projecting this like positive vibe. And I think even after an interview, I think Banks was like, after the G2 game, like, oh, you know,
they won.
Which they won, yeah.
I think it's important because his attitude does change depending whether they win or lose.
Well, he said, "Oh, I'm not going to be toxic," but he said it like with a cheeky smile.
Yeah, it was kind. I think Banks asked, you know, how is the team, is the chemistry or something, and he was like, "Oh, well, if I'm not being toxic, it's going to be fine." So somewhat along those lines. He said it being cheeky and sarcastic.
I watched a bit of a few rounds. The problem with being a casual watcher, I find, with Counter-Strike, by the way, and the problem with when there's so many games and they are on it like bizarre, not bizarre, but like time zone times to fit in. I'm always watching them in peculiar situations, so it's hard to always really tune into what I'm seeing. So like I might have it on my phone on a stand while I'm like doing the washing up, doing the dishes, you know, whatever, or like I try and catch it intermittently. I don't have time to just sit down and like really zone in, like turn it, you know, close the door and like watch it like that. So I end up watching like 5 rounds of like Navi Astralis and see like JL popping off for Navi, think he looks really good, then Imma struggling, and then you start to form views around it like that, and it's a bit hard. But they've all been given props to Alexi B's calling. I've heard that twice, yeah? Imma said it, and someone else said it.
I've noticed that, and I think that's going to happen if they win games. They're going to be like, because there was so much controversy around it, I think they've got to kind of stand up for him and make it look right.
That's what I'm trying to think, if they're...
I don't think it is that. Well,
they're not hamming it up.
Let me correct myself. It is that. That's why they're doing it. But Alexi B has been making some good calls. I do feel like he's surprised me a little bit, and I do think he's been making good calls from what I've seen. I'm the same as you, kind of watching it in the same situations as you are, and just catching bits here and there. But from what I've seen, I like what he's been doing, and they feel like they're kind of finding their feet a little during this tournament. But to beat G2, I know G2 aren't performing very well at the minute, but still, to beat them, that's good. They still are one of the top 10 teams in the world, and if you can call Navi a top 10 team in the world right now, I know they were ranked 30th or whatever, but if you could say that, or even if you could argue it, I think that's a good starting block for them, changing language and all the big changes they've done. And I know they lost to Heroic, but they didn't get
It's not
whitewashed.
it's not unusual to lose to Heroic anyway. It's not like you would expect them to, especially if they changed so much of their core. Losing to a Heroic who are just Mr. Consistent is not a worrying sign. Also, Simple's been stepping up with these games, right? He's been playing well in the ones that they've been winning. I do think JL looks good. I think JL's impressed me more than Imma or Im. It should just be called Im, not Imma. Anyway, JL's been looking better for me than Imma. So, if they get some confidence, and if they get confidence, well, Alexi B gets confidence, because I always feel like Alexi B's shitting himself a bit. That's the vibe he gives off. Just.
I don't know if it's just his face.
That's what I mean. Just like his aura. I just feel like he's shitting himself, or like almost imposter syndrome. Like I shouldn't be fucking doing this. I don't know.
Yeah, when he talks, he does seem confident, but when I just see his face, who else reminds me of that is Elige. I always feel like Elige looks like he's going to cry.
Yeah, but Elige's got the history and track record for you to just know that he knows what he's doing. But Alexi B, just like shaking. Deep down, I feel like he's just shaking like a shitting dog. Just there, like...
I would if I was Simple's IGL.
Just there, like, please don't shout at me.
You're on Simple's team and you're the worst player.
So, if they got some confidence and Alexi B got some confidence, and then that shuts Simple up for a bit, and Simple starts just doing his job, they probably could be a really dangerous team, right? I mean...
Yeah, I mean, Imma has shown glimpses, especially in that G2 game, which I watched bits of here and there. I did see glimpses of brilliance from Imma. He was pulling off some cracking shots. And although he's not been on this high-level team for long, he seems experienced when I'm watching him. And I think a lot of these tier 2 teams now, they've got so much experience just playing games, like literally playing so many games, it's ridiculous. They've all got so much experience and they've been in so many situations. Like we talked about it a while ago, how many games the tier 2 teams are playing compared to the tier 1 games, and it's ridiculous.
Yeah.
Like one team could be playing 100 games, the other might have played 2,000. So I think that shows, and at the moment, maybe the lights are a little bit bright for him, but he has pulled off some great shots, and you can see his mechanics to that, and his aim is phenomenal.
Yeah.
So we'll see. He should get there. And I know you're not the biggest Navi fan, but I would like to see them improve. I'm not a massive fan of them either. I would like to see them play well, because I want to see another team competing for that top level. I don't just want to watch Heroic and Vitality fighting for the top spot, even though I like them both. I want more teams involved. FaZe aren't fighting for anything. Are they in the top 5 still?
Anyway, I agree with you. So when you say I'm not a big Navi fan, I prefer this new look Navi to old look Navi. I like JL. I also think JL is bringing in some real personality into that team, true. And like his tweets and all this, like. The guy just seems a bit of a fucking laugh, which is what you probably want. And
I've seen him laughing at the table and stuff.
Yeah, I think they're growing on me. Simple's still a little bitch, but they're growing on me.
But all this noise as well around everyone saying Simple's so toxic. He seems like he's taking it in and he's listening a little bit. I think if these guys can get some wins under the belt, the chemistry will start.
I think as well, because of the team he's now got around him, I think he looks better to me as a person in a weird way, like the optics from looking outside in when he was surrounded by the Russian and guys in the UK, poor NPL, another young guy shaking like a shitting dog, and Simple just raging at them. I feel like if you've got Imma and JL fucking popping off a bit, and like that JL seems to have a bit about him, I reckon it's a better picture all round. Do you know what I mean? From me looking in, I'm like, actually, if he's going to get angry, I can understand Simple now. He just wants to be the best. He doesn't want to just fucking shout at his comrades and just fucking belittle them. Because that's what I just felt like he was doing in the old Navi. And now it's a bit more like, no, come on, I want to win this as a team. We've got a good team here. I think it's just fucking...
I think it was a case of Navi going from this insane team that were unreal, and then them kind of falling off a little bit. And like any great player at any sport, when they first start falling off, they're not happy.
Yeah.
And rightly so. So he felt like I should be one of the best teams in the world. I should be in the top 5 minimum. And he fell out of that, and he wasn't happy. He was raging. You could tell he was really unhappy about it. But now he's kind of realised, okay, we've rebuilt the team. I understand that we're not a top team anymore, and he can kind of comprehend it to himself and understand that he's not a top 5 team anymore, but we can get there. And my attitude needs to change, otherwise we're not going to get there.
Yeah.
So I feel like he's faced it now. He's like, yep, we fell off, but let's get back to it. Hopefully, we'll see.
Yep. Far too much time spent talking about Navi.
No, it's good.
No, I'm joking. I prefer them to how they were. So
I don't know where we're up to. Go on.
I'll tell you where we're up to. So the last team to qualify is Vitality, which before I started writing my notes and I was just going off my eye test of watching what was happening throughout the groups, I was like, Vitality are like just as good as Heroic again, like back to like classic Vitality. They beat EG, they beat Complexity, they then lost to NIP, and then they beat Big. So they beat EG, Complexity, and Big. All people they should definitely beat. Right, that's who they should beat.
Yeah.
They lost to NIP, who we've said have been the surprise group, but they should still beat them. And then they beat Big, who they should beat. So yeah, Vitality qualified. I don't think it was a particularly hard run.
Can I just say, they absolutely slapped EG and Complexity.
Yeah, but I think they should.
No, they slapped them.
I think EG got like 9 rounds or something, didn't they?
Against Complexity, map 1 on Inferno, Complexity won 1 round. Vertigo, they won 6 rounds.
It's times like that as a professional, it's sad you can't forfeit, isn't it? You can't just put, /GG, exclamation mark GG, cheers guys, it was good fun, but...
Yeah, and the NIP games were close, to be fair to them. I mean, I know they should have won that, but yeah, they were close.
Well, on the plus side, Flames looks good. Looks really good. So...
Yeah. But, like I said, we said this, didn't we? Right, yeah, they're doing well now, but let's see them face a decent team. They faced a half-decent team in NIP, and I say that with, an
air of caution.
Yeah, half good, and they lost. So, let's see them tested first. They absolutely slapping below-average teams. They lost to an average team, but that could have just been a little hiccup. We'll see.
Yeah. So those are the teams that qualified. FaZe, Heroic, NIP, Astralis, Navi, Vitality. Like I said, I think the only 2 I was not probably putting in there were Ninjas and Pajamas and Astralis. The ones that didn't qualify and go to the showdown to try and qualify again. Qualifier number 2, loser qualifiers, let's call it. G2, Liquid, who are the 2 that I thought would have replaced NIP and Astralis. So G2, Liquid, Complexity, Big, EG, and OG. I've got some questions here. It might be best to talk about who was the biggest disappointment, because 2 of the teams I have in my mind are the top 2 I just mentioned that didn't qualify, which was G2 and Liquid.
Yep.
Liquid I had massive hopes for, given this new look, aggressive team, and Yukindar leading it. And I thought when they first stepped out and they beat whoever it was, They beat FaZe. I thought, okay, yeah, this is what I thought Liquid were going to be like.
And they beat G2.
They beat G2 as well.
Yeah, they beat G2 and then beat FaZe and then lost to FaZe, lost to Astralis.
Okay, so that's quite a hard run. Now you've said it. Liquid did not have an easy run to qualify. So actually, should they be in one of my most disappointed of?
Well, if I said to you last week, Liquid Astralis, who's going to win?
I would say Liquid. I did. I would actually. I had a lot of faith in Liquid.
Yeah. So they literally beat G2, beat FaZe, lost to FaZe. Fair enough.
Yeah.
You just beat them. You just lost to them.
Yeah, it's gonna happen.
Right. Let's finish it off with Astralis, the easiest game, and they lost that.
Yeah, but I still don't think overall that run. I'm gonna take them out of my most disappointed because they're a real new look team.
You watched that game, right? Astralis Liquid. You said Astralis were laughing in between rounds or something.
Oh yeah. Who did I watch? Was it that game?
That was Liquid Astralis.
No, it wasn't. It was someone else.
Pretty sure it was.
There was someone. Oh, don't want to check WhatsApps while we're recording. There was someone that was like cackling, laughing.
Was it Blame F? I feel like I saw a video of him laughing.
Maybe it was that. Yeah. Anyway,
Yeah,
that would
sure it was that
right wind me up. Like because it wasn't even like some banter laugh. It was like actual forced, like cackling, like you, like really like toxic. Anyway, so Liquid I'm going to take out my most disappointed because I actually think they had a harder run than I've given them credit for, especially with a new look team and a new core. But G2, G2, fuck me. So G2, one of the few teams that didn't change anything. Yeah, even they didn't sort out the fucking Hooksy problem, and they struggled. They didn't do well at all, right?
So they. Do you want me to run through the results?
Yeah, go on.
They lost to Liquid 2-1. They beat OG 2-0.
That's nothing surprising, is it? OG was shocking.
Yeah. They lost to FaZe 2-0. They lost to Evil Genius. No, they beat Evil Geniuses 2-1, and then they lost to Navi 2-0.
And look at the Evil Geniuses game. Evil Geniuses took them to overtime on the deciding map. 2-1. So it was close. They could have lost to EG.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I mean, I wanted to talk about them, but I'm also kind of sick of talking about them. They're just underperforming after underperforming. I mean, Liquid 2-1, I can kind of give them a pass for. Yeah. Beating OG, yeah, you should do. FaZe 2-0, think they should be doing better than that. And they should be doing better against Navi. We both said the game yesterday against Navi G2 should be a really interesting game, and it was. It was pretty close. Like both games were 16-14, so they were both really close. But Navi have been together how long now? How many games have they even played as a team?
Well, that'd be like the third one.
Yeah, like a handful of games.
Like 3 or 4, and then G2.
They've been together like obviously a lot longer. They should be beating teams like that, and they really need to mix it up.
G2 supposedly 4th in the world.
Yeah, I mean, Hooksy again wasn't great. I think this kind of shows that. I saw an interview with Nico after this game, and he looked just depressed. Like he looked like he was just done. Like I felt sorry for the guy.
Well, he was probably just bored of getting like mad clutches and kills, and then just never winning.
Yeah, he was playing really well. I watched the Inferno game, and he was playing well. I don't know.
He has more of a reason to be toxic than like simple in a way. Anyway, so that's the current Blast event rounded up. I think nice. Unless you've got anything else to add.
No, but Hooksy, if you're listening, you need to leave, mate. Just stand down.
Well, your boy Munacy didn't play that well either, but we won't go into that. I don't think we need to go into that because Munacy's
Yeah, leave him alone.
yeah, Munacy's
He's just a kid.
young fire, and the guy's fucking good, really. Like he's gonna have some dips. What?
And the scouting headshot he did was ridiculous. So
Yeah,
I'm
that was mental.
I'm gonna give him a pass just for that. He jumped mid-air through a smoke and no scoped someone in the face.
Yeah, it was mental. Okay, so what we're gonna talk about next is away from the current pro. It's not right. Right, you and me have spoken many a times about why we have a perception of when the professional games are on, it feels like a lot of teams lose their map picks. So for some reason, during the veto process, they choose nuke, they remove a map, and then they choose nuke, and then they go and like lose nuke, and it's like, surely if that's the one you've picked and that's the one you're most prepared for, and you know it inside out, and you're having the confidence to pick it as your pick, why are you losing it? I thought I'd look into this a bit more, and obviously I wanted to understand exactly the numbers as such or how it works. Before we do, the veto system and how you pick the maps, I think do you know this? Do they flip a coin to decide who goes first? How do they decide who goes first? Because one team removes a map first. So let's say you're the IGL of Navi, I'm FaZe. I go first and I remove whatever, Inferno. Then you remove a map. Then it comes back to me. I pick my first map for the team. You pick your first map for the team. And then it goes back to me. I remove a map. You remove a map. And there's one left over, which is the decider. So I think they flip a coin to decide who starts that process off, i.e. gets the first map pick then. Okay. Right. So what I did is I went back to the Paris Major final. I didn't want to look at the current recent tournaments. I didn't want to look at this Blast one because of the new roster changes, so I thought it'd be unfair to look at the numbers there. And I didn't want to look at the two events after the major because they were nothing events when no one really tried that hard because the last ever major happened and Mouse won it with whoever, or Ents or whoever it was. I don't know who it was. Was it Ents? I can't remember. I think Ents won the last one. And there were 47 games played as part of the best of 3 series in the Blast Major, the actual major. Out of those games, 62.5% lost their pick. 37.5% won their map pick. So maybe I'm just throwing stats out there. All I know is over 60% of the map picks that got picked, they lost. People lost. So, like, I don't understand how this happens or why this happens, but you've got a greater percentage, it seems, based on that one tournament, and we should probably look at more tournaments, of losing your map pick than winning it. But if you're going to pick your map, I can't. So, have we got any thoughts on this? I just thought I wanted to, because you and me often will text each other and say, doesn't it always feel like these teams lose their map pick? And we're right. Based on that small pool of 50 odd games at the Paris Major, the majority do lose their map picks.
Yeah, we always say this, and it turns out to be true. I mean, the way I see it is anti-strats probably work better than strats.
Right.
So if I know what if I know what your favorite map is, or I know what your favorite maps are, and I know what you're gonna do, I can kind of stop you from doing it. And also the other thing is, I think it's very hard for teams to work out strats for CT side. And if you pick a map, I think they pick the side first where they start.
Right.
So I think most of the time they start CT because most maps are CT sided. So this is just me guessing, by the way. Like, so maybe if they're saying, right, we want to play. I'm not going to say Inferno because that's not CT sided. Oh no, Nuke, for example.
Yeah.
Let's play Nuke, or even Vertigo would be a good example because that's T sided. So if you play a map and you choose, right, let's play CT first, they've not really got strats for CT side. It's more the T side where they're probably more versed and they've got set plays, lined up for it. CT is a bit more reactive, isn't it?
Yep.
So that's the first half done, and if they're down, the chances are they're going to lose the game because once you're already down, it starts snowballing, and it's hard to come back once you're already losing quite heavily. And it's also easier for the other team. They're on CT, they're a bit more relaxed, and like I say, most maps are CT sided. So maybe it's that. I mean, I'm kind of just guessing, but I think the main thing is, it's easier to do anti-strats than it is play your strats, and trying to maybe overcomplicate things as well. It'd be interesting to see teams as well, like maybe the teams that have been together a longer, or maybe like teams like Heroic, they probably win most of their map choices because they're quite organised.
More, yeah, maybe.
So that would be interesting to look at.
Yeah, I might need to quit my job if I'm going to go into this level of stat stuff. Start writing.
Yeah, just on map choices.
Have you
got an opinion on it?
Well, I might just be dumbing this down as a stupid casual, but maybe it's just the fact that these teams are all so good at all these maps that it's just as likely you win or lose. You know what I mean? Like, you're going to come against a team where you think, oh, we'll pick, Vertigo, but they're pretty much just as good at it. And when you look back at the map numbers, they might have only lost it by 3 rounds, and that is such small margins anyway. Do you know what I mean? So it's just like they're just so good on all these maps, it doesn't make a massive difference. What you're saying about the anti-strat thing, I did think about as well, and whether they tried to be too tactical by thinking, well, we know, if I think I know Dave's best map is Dust 2, which I know it is. I know it's not on the active map pool, but if I know Brly's best map is Dust 2, I want to make sure I take that out and remove it first, get my map pick in, which is Mirage, but actually that's your pretty much second best map, and there's not much in it at all between Dust 2 and Mirage for you, then you've got just as much chance of beating me on my map pick anyway. Do you know what I mean? Yeah. So I just think the margins are probably quite small, and they just know what's going on all these maps. But just expanding on it further, or looking, so off the back of that, I went on a tangent and thought, well, how does that relate to what we do as obviously amateur casual players? And I have a firm likening to maps. I know which maps I do and don't like, and I know which maps I would prefer we play when we go out and play Face It or matchmaking, and I know you definitely do as well with certain ones. Maps that I would always pick over others, like I would always pick Dust 2, probably Inferno, and more often than not, I like a bit of Cash. I know Cash isn't in the active map pool anymore, but I like a bit of Cash. And Overpass. Those are probably the 4, which I'd be like, those are my preferred maps. I don't want to play Nuke. I don't want to play Vertigo. I'm bored as fuck of Mirage, really. I don't know if, I'm just so bored of it. And I think you love a bit of Dust 2. You like a bit of Inferno, right?
Yeah, I mean, I'm not as opinionated as you are. Like, I don't really care that much about what map I play.
I don't like the maps that
you say you don't, but you'll play them.
Well, yeah, because I like Counter-Strike.
Yeah, but I mean, you won't rule it out. Like, if we're playing,
I won't rule it out, but I don't.
You don't have a permaban either.
Well, strangely, I thought my permaban was Nuke. But so looking at this, I for ages hated playing Nuke. I was like, oh, fucking Nuke. And even when we got it on Face It, I just used to moan. Anyway, so looked at my stats, 100% win rate on Nuke. 100%. And you've got the same on Face It for Nuke. In matchmaking, so not Face It, Nuke is joint top for my win ratio. So Nuke is actually one of my best maps. I then looked at it on Face It. It's my highest average KD ratio is on Nuke as well. And I fucking always used to be like, oh, for God's sake. Whereas Overpass, which was one of my favourite maps, and I really enjoy playing it, and I just think it's a cool map. And I often even always say, if you're captain on Face It, I push you to pick Overpass over most things. I've never won a Face It game on it. It transpires ever. I've got the worst rating on Overpass, as do you. It's just like, so how this relates to what I'm saying about the pros, I would have probably tried to pick Overpass, lost my map pick. If they'd known I didn't like Nuke, or if there was some intelligence I didn't like Nuke, they probably would have picked it, and I probably would have won it.
Yeah, I do hear this a lot with CS teams as well, when people like teams just say, "Oh, we pick it because we like it, like we just like playing it."
Yeah.
And there's no other reason behind it.
If you said to me now, which one are you getting more fun on?
Because you like it. Yeah. Maybe it's like, oh, I like this. It's my happy place, and you're just running around all happy on the map, and you just, you're like, oh, I'm just gonna clear this bit, and I'm just gonna push a little bit on CT side, and then you just, yeah. Well, whereas Nuke, you don't know the map as well, or you're just not as happy, so you just you're a bit more cautious.
Well, you and me have got a better win percentage on Vertigo than Overpass.
But saying that, I think my win rate on Dust 2 is pretty good.
Yeah. To be fair, both our win rates on Dust 2 are pretty good.
Do you like Dust 2?
Yeah, who doesn't like Dust 2?
Yeah.
But our win rates on Dust 2 are good because it's the OG, and we do know that, Matt. It's hard to not know exactly what you're doing all the time.
All time, it's my most played map.
Yeah. It doesn't
easy,
surprise me.
Before CSGO as well.
Some other interesting map stats that I found in there. Inferno and Mirage are my most played maps across matchmaking and Face It. And Mirage was, I think they were top, actually, when you combine them over Dust 2, that was actually our most, Mirage and Inferno. I'm very bored of Mirage. I don't think it's that interesting anymore. But I've played it the most, but I think that's through other people's choice. It's not mine, and people veto the veto system and Face It.
Well, I've got a little quiz for you and for the listeners.
Okay.
You might know these answers since you've been researching maps.
My map research has been very specific.
Yeah, I think we know what the most played map is.
Was
in CSGO.
Inferno. Or are you talking all time?
All time.
Mirage.
Yeah, and then.
Well, I would have thought Inferno, but maybe yeah.
So it's Mirage, Inferno, but can you tell me? I thought those two were pretty easy, so I'm going to go for the third most played map.
Overpass.
Yeah. I would have said Dust 2.
Overpass is one of those. That's what I'm saying. I'm falling into the Overpass trap. Overpass is a map that I think feels very easy and welcoming, and it's actually It's actually a really hard map, I think.
Overpass is free. Dust 2, Train, Nuke, Cash, Cobblestone, Vertigo, Asian.
I thought Nuke would be harder than that.
No.
But maybe that's because I now love Nuke.
So, my next question is very precise.
This is an unexpected quiz on a Monday night.
Yeah.
Go on, I'm ready.
What map out of Dust 2, Inferno, Mirage, Overpass, Vertigo, Train, and Nuke are the most flashes thrown? And it's quite a lot higher than...
Right, tell me the maps again.
Dust 2, Inferno, Mirage, Overpass, Vertigo, Train, Nuke.
Flashes.
This is pro players.
Utilities, not my hot. I'm not good at this one because I don't throw very good that many flashes. And remember, kids, always throw flashes at the floor. What I want to say, the problem is I'm thinking now if it's competitive.
So most maps,
I want to say Mirage because it was played the most all the time.
I'll tell you this: most maps, there's an average of 6.4 to 6.3 on most maps. This one has a rating of 8.1.
It's not much of a clue, but it's good numbers for that map.
Dust 2.
I watched loads of flashes over long.
Yeah, Dust 2.
Long.
Everyone throws like 2 flashes over long if you want to take short, mid, if you want to go to B. Yeah, there's flashes thrown everywhere from both sides. So yeah, I just thought it was just a little fun quiz. And my last one was
Cheers,
what
teacher Brly.
what map? So what map has the most teams per Mabanit in the pro scene? Obviously,
Vertigo.
no nuke.
No way.
Yeah.
Nuke's better than Vertigo, surely. Vertigo's just fucking running.
Vertigo was second with 6.
Vertigo's got a lot of sneaky smokes and stuff like that, isn't it? So they probably like that. Okay. Well, while we're on it then, what would be your permaban?
Out of the current map pool?
Yeah.
So we're not including...
We're not including... Well, why would you permaban your favourite map? You wouldn't.
So we've got Mirage, Inferno, Overpass, Nuke, Vertigo, Ancient, Anubis. Fuck, maybe Nuke. Don't know though, because like you said, I play well on it.
We're playing well on Nuke.
I know Mirage quite well though. Ancient.
Okay, I've enjoyed Ancient. We've had a few.
I do like it, but yeah, I just had to throw one out there. So yeah.
Right. Mine would definitely be Vertigo, I think. No, it's got to be Overpass now. Now I know the stats. Fuck Overpass. It's the worst map ever.
Sorry, yeah, I'm gonna go Vertigo then. Forgot about that
one. And then, okay, we're gonna move on. We've talked a lot already, and we're hitting an hour mark already. We're on fire.
Damn.
What's next? Look forward to in CSN. Right, what we've got coming up? Let's go quickly.
Cologne, mate.
So we've got Cologne. Exciting times.
Cologne's going to be 6, starting on Wednesday. And we talked about Liquid playing Astralis, getting beat. They play again on Wednesday. So let's see if Astralis was just a fluke.
I like it.
That'll be good.
Liquid have a bit more time to practice than Astralis. Less comp games. So maybe they've hit the server and tried to fix some wrongs. But we're going to get to see some other rosters that have not been on display yet. Some new rosters or some changing teams, which is exciting. I, for one, am excited to see Mouse, see how Shui gets on a Mouse, and obviously the big one, the behemoth, which is going to be Cloud9. We're going to see who have Cloud9 got first. Do we know, or they?
I don't know. It's just going to.
Well, I think they're not in the play-in, so they're not actually got. They're in the actual. They start Saturday, and we don't know their opponent yet. So okay, fine. Anyone else you're excited to see from the qualifier? The play-ins qualifier.
I would say Furia. I'm pretty excited to see them. I want to say Fnatic, but I'm not. I'm not excited about seeing them. But I hope they do well.
To be fair, we on this podcast do not put enough emphasis on the Brazilian scene because it is fucking weird. But Furia is going to be a bit mental now with the team.
They've got Greyhounds, so they should wipe the floor with them.
That's a good start. K Serato, fucking sick. Cello's meant to be pretty good, and then they've obviously got Fallen in there now. So let's see what happens.
It'd be interesting to see because I mean, last time we seen Fallen, he was playing well. So he's their new in-game leader. Yeah, K Serato. Yeah, they should do well, but we say that about a lot of teams.
You're not excited to see your boys into the breach, or have they ruined? They've broken your heart now.
They're not my team anymore. No, I mean, if they do well, I might jump back on it, but no, I mean,
you're upset that they've got rid of their
one British player.
I thought Crucial was British though. He's got a bit of a British. I don't know. Was it him? Was it Volt?
French, I think.
Can't remember.
Volt's gone to
Gamer Legion.
Gamer Legion, yeah. Well, fair play to him. Yeah, Cypher's gone to TSM.
Is that actually announced yet?
Mate, you said this last podcast, I'm pretty sure. I just keep saying it.
No.
I'm speaking it to existence.
It's not announced? Not announced yet. It's got no team, according to HLTV. They keep talking about it, but it's not.
Well, maybe. I've heard a lot of people on the scene say that he is, so.
Yeah. Well, he's just not playing for anyone. He made all that sticker money and now he's just living the life of luxury. Bought a new PC and now all he does is play probably like Minecraft or something. BattleBit, yeah.
Whatever it is.
So I am Clone. That'll be fun to watch. Next up on my little notes, we're going to be really quick on this. ESL banned Crocs.
Oh yeah, biggest subject. Save the big subject till last. Everyone's switching off now. Yeah.
Do you have any opinion on what a
ESL
professional
banned
Counter-Strike?
Crocs.
Do you have any opinion on what professional Counter-Strike players should play when they're competing? What they should wear, sorry, when they're
No,
competing?
I'm sure I've seen some take the shoes off when they play, but I'm not a big fan of Crocs. But I have these guys on right now.
Oh well, you got the.
They're kind of like Crocs.
Are
They're
they
basically
are they
Crocs.
Primark Crocs?
Yeah, they are.
Mate,
They're just
got the old sliders on. I play my sliders. I always
nice.
play with my sliders.
Yeah, I just think they're comfy, but I wouldn't wear them to a Counter-Strike tournament. I guess they're just doing it to like the world's getting crazy, isn't it? Like you're trying to protect people too much. If someone wears Crocs and something
What's
happens
the
to their
problem with?
foot, I think it's just health and safety going mad,
Just-
isn't it? You're
just-
playing Counter-Strike.
Just get him to sign something then that says, "Oh, if my Crocs are to
No.
blame." Then
No, you don't need to sign anything. If you're wearing Crocs, you know that your feet are more at risk than they are if you're wearing hard toe boots. Like it's just common sense. Like if something happens to your foot, then yeah, so what? It happened. You were wearing Crocs. It's your fault.
I reckon our mate Sam wears Crocs when he plays.
It's
Anyway,
there's probably a guy who works for the company who's in health and safety, and he saw them wearing Crocs and thought, "Oh, I'll ban that just so I look like I'm doing something."
yeah.
That's all it was.
Oh, what a joke. Anyway, and then the other small news, but quite good news, that I think Valve moved the major dates to the last one will be towards the end of the season, so it will be the last event before the player break, which is a good move because after Paris Major, the next two competitions, as we touched on earlier, were a load of shit and it's not that interesting. No one tried that hard, so cool. Anything else you would like to touch on?
No, mate. Let's go and have some games, and we will change that. What was it? Our 100% record on Nuke. Let's go and fix that and take it out of 100%.
I like that confidence. All right, well, until next time. GG.
GGs.
See ya.
Bye.